Are you considering a 55-plus community? I mean, who else doesn't want to live an active lifestyle in this next chapter of their life? Have you considered Latitude Margaritaville here in Hilton Head, South Carolina? Hi, I'm David Cross, and I'm a realtor here, and this is At Home with David. And in today's episode, we're going to answer those questions by talking to the people who know best, the pioneers here in Latitude Hilton Head, who are the first ones to move in, who are the residents, who are doing daily life. We're going to interview them to find out what they think about living in Latitude Margaritaville Hilton Head. So stay tuned. So I'm going to get right into it. First thing I want to know is where are you from originally?
Originally, I was from a little town called Danville, Virginia, but basically since '84, it's been West Columbia, South Carolina.
West Columbia, South Carolina.
I grew up in Augusta, Georgia.
Augusta.
And I was born in Cincinnati, lived there most of my life, moved to Florida for 10 years, Myrtle Beach for 2 years, and then here.
We're from Auburn, New York.
Long Island, New York.
Long Island, New York.
Yes.
And 52 years?
52 years.
All our lives, and 52 in the house after we were married.
You're actually Southern, folks, so you've been here in the state, and then you're familiar with the South. How familiar were you with the Hilton Head area before you decided to move here? Had you been here before?
One time.
One time?
Mm-hmm.
One anniversary weekend, probably our maybe 30th anniversary. We planned originally to go back to New York from Memorial Day to Labor Day this summer because we weren't sure how this was going to be.
Okay.
We moved in March. We went back for Memorial Day, and after the third week in June, we were back.
Why? What was going on? What was going on back then?
Everything.
Everything.
Not only the activities and the beauty of the area and learning about the low country and just learning so much and having a new lifestyle, just everything.
I didn't, I was kind of hesitant about coming. And once we got here, it was great. The most thing was leaving my house for 52 years and all our friends back there. And it was a hard thing. I have 2 children within 1 mile from where we lived. And they said, okay, Dad, go for it. And we did. So that's why we're here.
That's great. That's great. So you found, though, that kind of subsided once you got here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Savannah, everything that we love about the area was here.
I wanted somewhere close enough that there was an airport nearby, number one. Was one thing that made me choose here. The other was that I wanted to make sure there was a hospital close by.
Okay.
2.5 miles off of 95.
Why is that important to you?
Well, it's important that, a lot of people go into Florida that we know, and they stop and they visit. There's a lot of visitors, just...
And we travel sometimes, although we're
it's
going to cut
easier
back
get
on
to
that.
Savannah.
And we're close to Savannah Airport.
Yeah.
And
So it's the proximity.
Yeah.
Just to that main artery
Yeah.
there.
And it just felt right. I mean, the very moment we walked in the sales office door, I knew it was the right choice for us.
Because you'd lived there and you obviously were real familiar with Hilton Head. When you were thinking about Margaritaville, did you kind of consider going down to Daytona?
Oh yes, I followed it from the very beginning, before they had built anything whatsoever.
Well, we really didn't consider Florida at all.
Really?
We saw the sign for Margaritaville here in Hardyville,
Okay.
Hilton Head area. Pulled in, was enthralled with the landscape, the preserve, just the natural area and the beauty of this area. Plus we had family here, so we never considered Florida.
Not at all.
No.
Had you been to Florida in the past?
Oh yes, we've been to the villages.
Okay, so you were familiar. So tell me then, because obviously it's really different because we're subtropical, so we're not quite that zone, and it is different. But I'd love your perspective when you say the landscape. What is it? Describe what your take about the area. What do you love most about it?
More diversity in the landscape, the lake, the trees. think the closeness to the major cities, Savannah,
Okay.
Hilton Head, Bluffton. We chose this area without even considering Florida.
Without even considering it. Okay, that's great.
We were not interested in moving at all, but let's go check out Margaritaville.
Okay.
We loved it. Loved Margaritaville, but we didn't want to live in Daytona.
Okay.
We sat with the salesperson. He says, well, we're building, this was early May last year, we're building in Hilton Head. We were driving back to New York, we stopped, and 3 days later the sign was on the front lawn.
So tell me about your journey then, because you had lived in Florida and
Yes.
you chose, and obviously Myrtle, which is
Yes.
a few hours north.
Yes.
So how did you pick Hilton Head? Like, how did you decide?
Well, I was in Florida for 10 years, and I left Florida, and my daughter lives in Tennessee, so I wanted to be a little closer to her.
Okay.
I actually went to Tennessee thinking, well, maybe I'll move up in this area to be close to her. Well, it was February, and it was snowing, and I said, that's not for me. So I ended up moving to Myrtle Beach, and just happened to hear that they were building this one here. I knew about the one in Florida. I didn't realize there was one here.
Okay.
And my friends told me about it. So I drove down here one weekend. I looked at it and I thought I'll come down, I'll check it out. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, I'll think about moving there. I came down, signed that day.
Isn't that something? You know, and I hear that a lot from folks. I do. Everybody who calls through 55 Places always says, I'm about 2 or 3 years out, and I've had several be like, okay, that timetable moved up a little bit.
It's true.
Always does.
You take a long time to make decisions, right? Because you're
Very well.
okay. So I want to share that story with you because you're like Mr. Consumer Reports. You know, 27 years to decide if you want to get married. Not really. I mean, not really. I get it. But let's just say you like to do your homework and research. But that wasn't really the case here. Is that right?
No, it turned out not to be the case because of the research I had done, you know, about the Daytona location.
Okay.
And then I found out that, you know, we were coming down to stay at a timeshare, and I found out that they were building Latitudes here.
Okay.
And I just said, how about when we come, you know, leave and go home, let's just stop and pick up some literature and just go home.
You weren't planning on buying though. This wasn't like you hadn't. Were you at a point where like we want to move and we're ready to move in like 2 or 3 years? You were just more curious.
But we had pretty much been looking at some other properties in Georgia.
Okay.
And so we were kind of ready to move.
Okay.
But this was kind of caught us by surprise. I mean, we wound up picking up the literature at home. We stayed 3.5 hours.
About 3.5 hours. Yep.
Wow.
Went home and could not stop talking about the place. I mean, I've just never seen either one of us be that excited about something.
So what was it? What was the excitement?
It started in the sales office.
In the sales office. I mean, you walked through the door and it was like, they were so glad to see you. And they just made you feel really welcome. The music was so great. But then when you saw the models, the open, the open feeling of everything, the happiness, I mean, you just couldn't feel unhappy.
It's really distinguishing too because the architecture, the colors. I mean, they really have done a good job, haven't they?
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, the bright colors, it's cheerful. I mean, it's happy, it makes you happy.
Yeah.
You can't be unhappy when you live here.
What about the area since you've been here have you really come to just appreciate and say, wow, you know,
Well,
this is different?
First, we love to be near the water, which Daytona had, but it's just prettier here.
Okay.
And the areas where you go, where you see the little fishing boats and the piers, it's just so different.
Lots of golf courses. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. They're different, plus it's warm and it's year-round.
Yeah. Speak to that a little bit. What do you find for the Northerners? They always ask me, what's the weather like in the winter?
In New York, you have 5-6 months maybe. Here you have 12 months.
12 months
year-round.
Now, do you guys get out on the water at all? Are you guys water folks?
We've gone kayaking here.
You like to kayak? How is this kayak trail? It's about a 4-mile kayak trail?
It's a 7-mile lake. We've kayaked 3 times. We do enjoy that. We love the beaches. There's nothing better than getting knocked down by a few waves.
Right, right. One of the things I wanted to know too is some folks, they've been, a lot of my folks are up north, or I actually get a lot of folks from California, even Hawaii, and their biggest concern is if they move all the way down to this little tucked away area in South Carolina, you know, will they ever see their family and friends? Do you find you get more visitors? Go ahead.
We didn't even have the bedrooms ready yet, and our grandson and granddaughter were already wanting to know exactly when they could come visit.
Come and visit.
Yes, yes.
That's fantastic.
I don't think you're going to have to worry because the airport's so close.
Yeah.
People can get here. People can drive here very easily, you know, right on 95, just jump off and here we are.
A couple miles off.
So yeah, I think you'll find people will come and visit. This is like a vacation spot.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
At least 8 couples here.
It's a destination,
Yeah.
isn't
Oh,
it?
yes.
3 of them want to buy here.
Right? Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say our like-minded friends became our new family.
Okay.
We left family in New York as well, but being here and everyone wants to do the activities, it's an active lifestyle, we feel like we're on vacation every day. It's like living in a resort.
Explain the low country, because I have a saying, our slogan for our company is more than a realtor, we're your link to the low country lifestyle, because I really believe it's never about the house, right? Because you're not buying a house, you're buying a life, a lifestyle. So share what does that mean to you? What does that phrase, the low country lifestyle, mean?
Relaxed,
Okay.
relaxed. Just good seafood.
Yeah.
But
Seafood,
again,
you
it's the
need it,
people.
right?
I mean, it's the people.
Yeah.
It's something about being in this part of the South.
Yeah.
The people welcome you. I mean, we go to a grocery store and there may not be people that live here.
Yeah.
And they're like, hi, where do you live? Who are you? Where did
Yeah.
you come from? I mean, it's just an unbelievable
Yeah.
feeling of happy.
Yeah. Sense of openness, huh?
Yeah.
You were
very
going to
much.
share something? What were you going to say about that? About the lifestyle?
I'm sitting here agreeing.
Agreeing?
That's the way it is.
It's very friendly. Everybody's
Yeah.
very
All the people that have moved in, it's like, if you don't know them today, you'll know them tomorrow.
Yeah, I often tell folks, because I'm a transplant as well, and when I try to reassure people, hey, I know what you're going through, I say this has probably been the easiest place to connect in my life. And I just think it's because it's so warm and happy. You know, like you can't help but be happy, right? All right, well, thank you everybody for being here today. And I think I can say from talking to everybody here that we can sum this up, that Latitude Margaritaville Hilton Head is an amazing community and it's a place you want to be. And
The only thing is you.